What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I did actually want to discuss something today after playing the lockdown game mode for a bit, and I do feel like people have also been thinking about it. So we all do know how we did end up getting the motorcycle into the lockdown game mode. Currently it is not going to be in free mode, which I do think that's probably going to change in the future. We're also going to have the playlist, which currently when making this video wasn't available, but I am going to be making a video about the playlist as well. The thing is, though, I was actually really wondering about, though, is y'all know how we actually have the motorcycle in Unbound, right? The first Need for Speed game with a motorcycle. And you know what's funny, though? When I first heard about the announcement of the motorcycle being added, I was like, oh man, this thing's going to be terrible. They don't know how to use motorcycles, or at least that's what people were saying. Funny thing is, guys, I did actually mention this in the other video, though, is we all do know another game had bikes by EA. Guess what? That was going to be Burnout Paradise. That game also had motorcycles in it. And the funny part is, I thought the handling model in that game was actually pretty dang good. We all do know a lot of games probably get the motorcycle physics wrong, or they could probably be a lot better than what they actually are in game. And I do feel like Burnout Paradise was pretty dang decent. So fast forwarding now into Unbound, which again is going to be the first Need for Speed game with a bike, it makes me wonder, could the next Need for Speed game have motorcycles in it? And the funny part is, I would probably say people are going to be like, what are you talking about, dude? That isn't going to happen. But here's the thing, though. They did actually add a motorcycle into Unbound, though. Like, they're probably testing the waters with it. Like, yo, let's see what people actually think about bikes. Like, we can do the handling model. As I mentioned, obviously, Burnout had it. So let's put it into Need for Speed. And you know what's hilarious about this, though, is when I was playing Need for Speed Heat back in the day, I'm like, yo, that's a BMW S1000RR. Like, look at the modeling of that bike is pretty dang good. Fast forwarding to Unbound, guys, and guess what? It is now in the game. And I also admit right now, it does handle really well for a motorcycle. And what I mean by that, though, is the fact that many games probably get the motorcycle's physics wonky or like they don't feel right. I would actually go as far as saying, guys, now again, I am going to talk about this when the PvP playlist comes out, and I am going to compare it to Motorfest, yes. And I would actually say right now from my initial impressions using the bike in Lockdown, and I feel like they actually did such a great job with the motorcycle physics. Like, I really do enjoy it. I feel like many players are going to pretty much ride around the motorcycle in Lockdown, which is also why I really think they need to add the bike into free roam. And I'm guessing at this point, many of you saw the recent video saying that was the biggest L of the entire update. Put the bike in free roam, man. That way people can actually use it because it is legit that fun to ride around on this thing. I would actually say most players would jump on Need for Speed just to use the bike. Like, they legitimately did that great with it. Now, the thing is, the reason why I'm also saying the next Need for Speed game could have bikes is they're going to have the model in there, guys, and they could easily do a crazy street race type of game like this where we have bikes and cars. And guess what? What other game actually did something similar? Midnight Club Los Angeles. That actually came out in, what, 2008, 2009-ish? That is insane, man. So imagine having another game where we have like a small map somewhere, or, you know, a decent sized map like Unbound or Heat or something, where we're actually going to have cars and motorcycles. What do you guys think about that? Would you like to see like a BMW in there, like a Ducati, a Yamaha, or one or something? I feel like that would be so insane to have motorcycles in there, like even cruisers and stuff, and also be able to customize your car similar to what you could do in Need for Speed, or even something like Midnight Club. I really feel like so many players would buy the game in a heartbeat. That's probably the biggest thing that does bother me, man. Like, all these ideas are there. These games can be so dang good. They just have to listen to what the community wants. A lot of players are going to be like, yo, no, if we can get motorcycles in the game, man, give me all these dope cars, the JDM cars, put everything in there. Have hypercars. It could legit be the best Need for Speed game ever without a doubt in my mind. I personally love motorcycles. I also love cars. I love, like, off-road trucks and all that. A lot of games are probably failing in certain aspects to where, like, people are asking for stuff and it's not being delivered. We've seen it in Need for Speed, for example. We've seen this in Motorfest. We've seen this in pretty much most newer games nowadays. For example, with that, though, players are probably going to be like, okay, so we're going to want more PvP events, or why don't you guys add more races into this? Then they're going to come forward and go, okay, so let's add an entire police game mode to the game, or, you know, having like an insane chase squad type of thing, which I am referencing Motorfest here, that a lot of players, I feel like, just did not even ask for. I do know a lot of people were asking for PvP and stuff, which was not even added. I'm actually going to touch on that in a video most likely coming up next week. do stay tuned for that, guys, because it legit frustrates me so much. Like, I do understand the Need for Speed Unbound updates. Like, people have not really been liking this game. It gets a ton of hate. I pretty much see it everywhere, but this game is actually pretty dang solid. Like, yeah, it's not going to be perfect. Then again, which games are nowadays? Probably not that many. I feel like a lot of players would still enjoy this game, though, if they actually tried it. Now, is it going to be as good as Need for Speed Heat, like, gameplay-wise? Well, that's probably going to be up for a decent debate there, but even then, guys, at least they're actually updating Unbound. Like, every single one that comes out has content in it. It's going to have a lot of cool stuff you can actually go after and all that. So it is going to be a decent amount of updates we have been getting, even having a smaller dev team in it. Having a motorcycle in this game, though, is making me actually wonder even more. Like, maybe they really are testing the waters on something even bigger for the next game. And who knows, maybe that's a big reason why we only have the motorcycle in something like Lockdown at the moment, because they are legitimately testing the waters to see what people like about it, what they might want to see changed, or how they could actually implement the bike into the game itself. That way people can use it. And that right there makes me so dang excited, because now the bike model is in there, which means they can easily add other motorcycles or have a game that comes out in the future, aka the next Need for Speed game most likely coming out in 2026. Because 2025 is Battlefield, I've been seeing people saying, yo, the next Need for Speed game is next year, and unfortunately it is not going to be. But maybe that's actually a good thing, because now they can actually go back to the older roots, but add an entire new twist into that game. Like, imagine, guys, seeing a newer Need for Speed game that's going to be a predecessor or something that's newer, or like a newer version of Midnight Club Los Angeles. Like, imagine that, man. I'm telling you, that would be such an incredible game. It would easily be one of the best racing games out if they did it. Having all kinds of dope cars players want, have police in there, have a decent campaign and stuff like that. And on top of it, we're now going to be able to use different motorcycles. Like, I really do feel like Unbound actually opened up so many doors with adding a bike into it. Not only having a new model in there, but also, who knows what we're going to see in the next game that's going to be coming out. Do let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Would you also like to see the motorcycle in free roam? I had to say it again, because you know what? Have to get this stuff out there, man, because everybody wants that bike in free roam. You guys heard it. You have to do it, EA. Please add that thing into free roam, like, seriously. But on top of that, though, do you guys think the next Need for Speed game can have motorcycles? I am really curious to know what y'all think in the comments below.